Hey, everybody, welcome to Review with Me, your review guide of shows, movies, and everything in between. Be sure to click the like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get on with this review. Hello, welcome back, welcome back. Let's jump right into it. I am your host, Maxine, and we are reviewing And Just Like That, Season 3, Episode 6. This episode is called Silent Mode. It really should be called Michael Kors. The amount of times I heard Jennifer Williams shout out Michael Kors in this episode, it would make you think that it's sponsoring the show or at least this episode. But nonetheless, we'll get to that. As you can see here, our starter image of this review is focused on Duncan, Carrie's new neighbor, who's only at his downstairs apartment 6 months out of the year because he's a writer and he works remotely in was it London? So he comes to New York only 6 months out of the year. That's how his schedule is set up, right? So Carrie is now befriending this man, and they seem to be getting along pretty well. Here they are, and I just kind of juxtaposition the image of Carrie here, but it's from the same scene. But we see both of them eating or drinking stew, which look, I love soup. I'm a soup girly. I really do love soup. I think soup is great. The unfortunate thing about soup is you're not really full, right? And so you find yourself getting three more bowls of soup because it's a lot of liquid and you think the liquid will help substantiate your hunger, but no, you're still fucking hungry. You're hungry. What else do we have? Unless there's bread that's associated with the soup, then the hunger may be quelched or quenched, I should say. Nonetheless, I'm a stew fan. I love soup. I'm a stew fan. I come from Haitian parents, so I used to eat soup every weekend, and I still kind of do. I try to keep the tradition alive in my own home. But anyway, you probably watch. What are you talking about soup? But they're having soup. They're having stew together because we know that Duncan is a stew fanatic. He only has stew. I don't see him eating anything else. And maybe Carrie may introduce him to new food items. Who knows? But we see a friendship growing there. So much so that they're asking the other for advice or feedback, constructive feedback on their writing. Because again, both of them are writers. And Duncan, he's working on a piece that is of new field for him, yet it's familiar for Carrie. And Carrie's working on a piece that's of new field for her and is familiar for Duncan. I forget exactly what the field is, but I know Carrie, she's working on a piece about olden days, right? You know, she lives in this, she bought this house that she owns, and Duncan's a tenant in the downstairs apartment. And she is writing a novel based on life back in the 1800s. So I say all this to say we're seeing the setup of a friendship at the very least, and we'll get to that. We're gonna circle back. We'll circle back. So in the next scene, we see Carrie talking on the phone to Aiden because she has to keep him abreast. And we know now that they can contact each other during these 5 years that Aiden initially said we should have no contact. Now that I'm staying in Virginia for this amount of time for the betterment of my son Wyatt, who is out of whack. Carrie's telling Aiden about Duncan, and she's just casually talking as if she's talking to a friend, as if she's not talking to a man who is interested in her or dating her romantically, whatever that looks like necessarily between them. But at the very least, as if she's not talking to a man whom she has a romantic relationship with. Aiden says, "Who's Duncan? Who's Duncan?" And then he goes on to say, after Carrie explains who Duncan is, then he goes on to give the whole dad joke. Oh, Dunkin' Donuts, you know. And I think I was watching someone else's review of this show, and I think they mentioned watch Aiden does this silly, corny joke of Dunkin' Donuts, which, I mean, he had to, right? It was right there. So I'm not mad at that. But Carrie made a point to say, do you listen to me when I talk? Like, I've been talking about Duncan to you for a little bit now. So for him to not have been aware of, sorry, I heard my neighbors, I think. So for him to have not been aware who Duncan was, I think he was just so flabbergasted by the casualness and the consistency of this name. Or maybe he didn't realize it. I don't know. Because I wonder, when are we, here's what I'm thinking. Because I'm thinking, when are we going to see Aiden feel jealous or demonstrate jealousy about this relationship, this friendship that Carrie is growing and developing with Duncan? And in the last scene of this episode, I thought I was going to see a little bit more of that, but we'll get to that. I'm slow walking the dog, so we'll get to that. So we get to a scene of Miranda waking up in Britt's home. I think her name is Joy. I always forget her name. It doesn't matter. She's the British woman who looks just like Miranda if Miranda had a bob and shoulder, or at least collarbone length hair. Okay? They look alike, both redheads and weird in their own right. Miranda feels like she is overextending her invite, or her stay over at this Brit's home, even though they've developed a relationship with each other. You know how lesbians, they move fast. Miranda even made a joke about that. Like, I don't want to be a typical lesbian, and we just started dating and I'm already moved into your home. That's what it's looking like. Because apparently Miranda is very picky with finding a new home and committing to purchasing or renting out a home. Seema has been searching high and low, doing her job pretty well, I might add, because she said, oh, I found you this house and it is asking for this price. You can set this offer for that price. It's not even on the market. You're the first one to see it, and if you propose this offer, it's yours. Miranda, she walks in, she's loving it. She has all these compliments to say about the house, yet she says, "Well, I don't believe in offering over asking. I don't believe in offering over asking. It's just a principle. I don't believe in that. The right home will come to me. I wouldn't have to offer first, and it'll just fall on my lap." I'm tired of people thinking that way when it comes to life itself. The right thing will just come to me. It'll fall. No, you have to fight for it. You have to fight for whatever you want. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to speak out loud and be diligent about it. You can't just be very passive. And hearing about how the New York real estate is, you really can't be passive about the apartment, the home that you plan to purchase. You have to be aggressive. Damn right, a bitch, I should say. So I wrote down, this is why Miranda doesn't have a home. This is why she doesn't have a home, because she's too, oh no, I don't believe in offering over asking, or see how the lining of this wall is. I'm not gonna do it. Like, what's up with that? Because at this point, it really doesn't make any sense why Miranda doesn't have her own home. It never made sense to me why she was living. First, she was staying at her college professor's apartment, and she had a spare room. Why are you staying at your college professor's apartment? What are we doing? Miranda, you are not this teenager who got kicked out the house and has no place else to go and no resources. You are fully resourced. Yeah, I understand how divorce may play a negative role in your finances, but there's simply no excuse why Miranda has been struggling financially the way she has. So we get to Harry and what's her name? Charlotte. Oh wait, I'm gonna leave this picture here, but we're gonna talk about this scene in a second, okay? I'm gonna leave that picture there. We're gonna talk about that scene in a second. So Charlotte, we know that Harry has prostate cancer. This show, and I get it, it comes with old age. This shouldn't be a shied away topic that death is near if you're of a particular age, but it just seems to be the primary focus, the theme of And Just Like That. Who else is gonna die? People dying behind the scenes, like in real life. I forget the name of that male character who was another gay character, another gay best friend. He dated Anthony's character. He dated Anthony with a glass. Y'all know who I'm talking about. He died in real life. And they just kind of wrote him off and said, oh, he's a monk now. Okay. Big, obviously, that was a big death. That was a big mistake, in my opinion. But that stemmed from the allegations set against him of sexual misconduct that I don't know was all the way factual, just my opinion. But in that time, the best approach is to just kick the man while he's down and be on the side of women with no credible source supporting you. But nonetheless, Harry is dealing with prostate cancer. And Charlotte is trying to be hopeful and optimistic here. They came out of the Cancer Research Center, or she's about to walk into the Cancer Research Center. And remember, Harry told Charlotte, don't tell anyone about this. Don't tell. And I hate that. I didn't like that he did that. I think that was very manipulative. You should not police who I vent to in order for me to get through this trying time. No, that's not okay. That's not okay. So Harry, you were wrong for that. But we see at the end of this episode anyway that Charlotte finally does spill the beans, and it was eating her up alive. So anyway, let's see. Harry opts for surgery as part of his treatment of prostate cancer, and we'll see how that plays out. We get to a scene of us being at Anthony's bakery shop, and we see Giuseppe with this big old dick print. This big old dick, like, damn, nigga. I wanted to open my mouth. Like, hold on. It's a joke. It's a joke, but it's funny though. Seriously, that dick, that print was, that dick was big, that print was big. Both of them. Okay. And it actually should be illegal. Like, it should not be okay for you to just flash yourself, even though you don't see the actual dick. But that print should not be as strong and hard. Why is your penis already hard? You're taking an order. That's inappropriate. Giuseppe, I mean, what that dick do? That's the question. But there should be no reason why your dick print is as hard as it is while you're taking an order. That's ridiculous. Okay. Seema shows Miranda another home. Miranda still says no. She's like, well, if the owner doesn't want me, her reason is the owner of this house is against having any pets. And even though Miranda doesn't have pets of her own, she knows that Brit, obviously her British lover, I'm just going to call her Brit, she has two dogs, Sampho and Socrates, whatever. Socrates, I should say, my bad. I know who that is. But she wants to keep her home buying considerations in favor of the owner being okay with having pets, because obviously she knows her girlfriend really likes pets or has two pets of her own. We catch a scene. I'm jumping around. I thought I had a picture of that. Let's just move here, okay? I'll get back to the other scene. we catch a scene. Okay, I'm gonna jump back to it in a second. We catch a scene of Marion and LTW in the editing room, door closed, it's dark inside. Of course, we get it. You're dealing with a lot of screens, you're editing. And obviously, Marion, he's a handsome look, ashtray bitch. Hello? Every time I gotta talk about him because golly, he's fine. He's fine. I get it, even with the dangly earring. But he's a little. I remember I used to watch his Instagram videos back in the day when I was grieving the loss of my cousin, R.I.P. Joanna. I just came across his Instagram live and he was talking a lot about how, well, he said how he died actually. He told us in this live that he passed away. And let me share a screenshot of this man because he's very fine. There's no denying that. I get it. I may lose my life to I may want to see him too. I may want to see what he's talking about too. But anyway, he's a little cuckoo. He's a little cuckoo. He's a little esoteric. So if you like that kind of stuff, then that's fine. Good for you. Well, let me go ahead and show you how fine it is. Yeah, let's just leave this picture here. He's fine. So though I'm not necessarily condoning LTW to cheat on her husband because her husband's handsome too. But I understand. I get it. It makes sense to me. What's interesting about this scene, though, Makai, or Marion, but his real name is Makai, that's why I just said that. Marion tells us, or tells the, like, we find out in the scene that he's actually married. Of course he is. Of course. Who is not marrying him? I'm telling you, all of them, any potential of a man, whether fictional or not, they're taken in some capacity. So of course he's married, of course. But LTW, she was confused because she's like, I didn't know you were married. I didn't know you were married. And she was just like so taken aback, like, oh man, had she known that he was married, she would have better respected the boundary that needs to be respected as professionals here and as someone who's already married. So it shouldn't have mattered whether Marion was married because LTW, you're married. Like, why are you so taken aback that he's married and that kind of messed things up for you? Yet you weren't taken aback enough that you're married yourself? That was a weird little moment. But Marion explains that he doesn't tell everyone at work or he doesn't share that as public information because he likes to keep his personal and his professional separate. And I respect that. But here's the thing. At the same time, a lot of guys who do that, they do it because they live a single lifestyle while married. So yeah, I have a wife at home. Yeah, I got a wife at home. Yeah, I mean, I'm legally married, but I'm single in your face. I'm single at work though. I'm single during these work trips that we're on. I'm single on that 1970s airplane that we were on. I'm a single man in front of you. But if you want to talk legally, okay, yeah, I'm married. Yeah, I got a wife. Yeah, I'm a husband legally. Oh man, niggas really ain't shit. Like, it's just at this point, you deal with the ain't shitness and you make the best out of it. Like, you put a dress on a pig. Still a pig, but it has a dress now. That's my opinion. So in this moment, we see LTW, she's getting annoyed because she's getting all these calls and text messages and it's disrupting her flow of being so in tune with this man right here who she said, it's like you're reading my mind. You got everything I wanted from my thoughts and my notes, and you You produced it so well in this editing. And it's like, girl, he's a professional. He knows how to do his job. Stop acting like he did this like magical spiritual connection with you and he's able to just touch you in a way that's just so phenomenal. Girl, that's Mekhi Brooks for you, though. So I understand. I get it. Anyway, so we get to this scene. Herbert, that's his name. I always forget his name. Herbert finally comes in. He's like, I've been trying to call you. And I thought he was going to be upset that he sees LTW, that he sees his wife in this room alone, doors locked, door closed. It wasn't locked, but the door closed, dark inside. You turned off your phone. What were y'all fucking? Because that's the only reason why you would turn off your phone. You didn't want any disruptions. But of course, this moment gets usurped by this major event that took place, which was the passing of her father, which I felt like, oh, damn, another damn death. We didn't really know the dad like that. So I didn't think we needed to see much of this play out. I understand why they did it, but I think this moment could have been better if Herbert was just upset that my wife is not picking up my call. She's not responding to my text. I go to her job and she's in this dark room with this statuesque with this man. Yeah, like that would have been enough. It should have been enough of a scene. But of course, all of that gets wiped away because LTW is super upset that her father, of course, passed away. I'm saying of course because it's sad for her to realize that, right? She just thought he just suffered from a stroke. But no, he suffered and died. Like that was it. So again, this show is just death after death. I mean, and just like that, you're dead. That should be the whole title of the show. And just like that, you're dead. And just like that, you're dying. And just like that, you have cancer. And just like that, another death happens. Golly, can we get with the sex? Can we? I'm not trying to condone cheating. It's a fictional show, but can we get a scene with this man body rocking Lisa Todd Wexley? Can we get that? Shit, I get the show is not called Sex in the City anymore, but we know where it's from. We know where the show originates. Can we get back to that? I'm tired of seeing all these characters dying or about to die or, hey, I'm on the brink of death. Damn, that shit it's depressing as hell. I'm tired of being depressed. Okay, I'm gonna leave it on this because, child. Okay, now let's get back to here. This one. Okay. This Dodo looking like a bird head ass nigga. Aiden is annoying day by day. So Aiden not surprises. He while Carrie was talking to him on the phone about Dunkin' Donuts, Aiden lets her know that he's so excited to see her the upcoming weekend. Or he said he's going to come to New York actually to see her. And Carrie was like, "Oh my gosh, for real?" He said that is the plan because Wyatt is going to this wilderness camp and is going to help him, of course, with his behavioral issues. And he's super excited that Wyatt agreed to this. So Aiden had some time to spare, so he spends it with his girl, which is cool. I like that. And instead of just being a regular dude and just walking up and using the key in the house that y'all share, because Carrie stays saying our house, our backyard, our living room. What do you think about this table for our dining room? Girl, Carrie, it's your house. It's your house. You bought it with Big's money after he died. It's your house. Where and how does Aiden contribute to this house for it to be an our thing? He's barely even there. But after 2 months of them not seeing each other, because I guess 2 months ago, according to the show timeline, that was when Carrie was in Virginia doing her whole prairie lifestyle. So Aiden throws a pebble at the window. The first pebble didn't really attract any noise or attention from Carrie because she didn't approach the window, right? So then he throws another pebble. Mind you, it still appears as if it's a pebble. He throws the pebble, and this pebble just shatters all of the glass. Not even some of it, not even a little bit of a crack on the window. It shatters the whole glass window as if he threw a boulder. And I just thought this moment was so ridiculous. We get it that this is Aiden's thing, right? You know, back from Sex and the City, and even season 2 of And Just Like That, we see Aiden throwing rocks again at Carrie's apartment. But enough. Just walk inside. The door is unlocked. The door is unlocked. You may have a spare key already. So go inside. Why are you throwing boulders and bricks, machetes, baseball bats? Why are you throwing anything at my window, at my glass window? It's not cute. It was cute in our early 30s, but that's it. So it breaks. Mind you, this is a 1860s old ass home, abolitionist home. Okay. Carrie is, of course, upset, but she restrains her upsetness, I would say, because she never really yells at Aiden. She's very calm and mature. We'll get to that some more in a bit. But she's very mature in how she regulates her emotions. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Like Carrie, either she is just more regulated with her emotions now that she's an older character here, or she's only that with him. Who knows? So Carrie's upset because it's not just a glass window. It's a particular antique glass window, and it shows a story. It tells a story, and even when the sun hits it, you see a rainbow on it. It's a beautiful, it has history. We get it. So it is upsetting. It's a sentimental value. Aiden starts whining like a little bitch. Aiden starts whining. He's like, why is nothing going my way? Why is nothing going my way? And I'm like, is this about you? Or is it about the fact you broke Carrie's glass window because you wanted to be cute like a rom-com? It was so ridiculous, and I'm tired of yes, we get it, Aiden. You're going through a lot with your family, but that ain't my shit. How about that? How about I don't give a damn? How about that? How about you handle that with your ex-wife, who you still, we find out, we'll get to it. Let's get to it right now. We find out that Aiden is still or accidentally slept with his ex-wife. Go deal with your shit with her. You talking about why is nothing going my way? Because your life doesn't make any sense. You have these 3 grown-ass kids, and yet you screwing your ex-wife? It's one thing to screw your ex-wife because y'all just got through a divorce and y'all kids are babies or still young, like elementary school age. Sometimes there's the freshness of the divorce, and there's the bond of the child. It's still fresh. All that's still fresh. But you mean to tell me you have 16-year-old kids, men, and a 21-year-old son as well. You have 3 boys. They're all either of age or about to be of age, and you still having a oopsie daisy with your ex-wife? Carrie's better than me, but we'll get to that in more detail. Hold on. I'm getting too excited. Hold on. So Aiden's talking about why is nothing going my way. He lets Carrie know that Aiden, or that Wyatt, doesn't want to go to the wilderness retreat, and it's just a trying time. We cut back to let me see. Yeah, we already talked about Marion and LTW. Yada yada yada. Okay, so LTW eventually tells Charlotte, she tells Charlotte about her father, and she's feeling very sad about it. Like, sad that, let's just stay here. Sad that she wasn't there when people were calling him, and she could have had his last moments. They could have had a conversation. They could have had just a bonding moment before he passed on. So LTW is feeling guilty for being very work centered. She meets with, or she actually receives an email from a lover who's played by Jennifer Williams. This is the lover of her dad. So Jennifer Williams, she's playing out, her name is Lucille. She sent this blast email in preparation, or actually a funeral invite to her dad's funeral. So we learn about their contentious relationship. Lucille kind of blames LTW for not being there for the for her father. Apparently, she wasn't too reachable when it comes to anything that interferes with her job. Now, here's the thing. Though, I don't know. I just think with LTW, she is so ambitious with her career that I don't see how she could change. Like, I don't see what the difference could be if she suddenly were to take some time off from work or have some bounce. Shout out to 5 of y'all in the chat. Not even in the chat, in the video. Well, now 3, but look, 5 is the highest number I've seen since I've started consistently doing live. So please like the video if you're enjoying this. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about any of these scenes so far with this show. I'm super excited that you're here. So thank you for coming in, and subscribe if you haven't yet. So anyway, LTW is just, she's very career oriented. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think it gets into the conversation of, well, what's the limit here, right? She's affording this lifestyle, and Herbert has this great lifestyle as well, as far as they both live nice jobs. They have nice jobs, and their life makes up for it. I don't know how we could shift that in her character, but we'll see. So we see this big production with this funeral, which is like a theater production. And again, Lucille, played by Jennifer Williams, is the one who is in charge of it, who set it up. And it's a nice production. And she calls it a homegoing service, which a lot of Black people do. What I kind of don't like about it just felt very showboaty. Like, there's a scene of LTW walking outside of her apartment with her outfit on to attend this funeral, and she's walking side by side with her youngest daughter, and her only daughter, and they're holding hands. It's looking like a whole RFK, JFK moment, Jacqueline Kennedy moment. And I just feel like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, can we just have a funeral? Can we just, like, why are we doing all this big I don't know. I just feel like I never like a big gesture of anything, because it just lacks the genuine nature. And I think it was unnecessary for this moment here. But nonetheless, it suits her personality. We get to a scene of Britt meeting Miranda's son, Brady. Britt tells Miranda, look, I'm not really big on kids. You know how you have a thing for dogs or thing against dogs? I kind of feel the same way about kids. I'm on the fence about them. But as soon as she meets Brady is very engaging with the dogs. And I think that helped Britt feel off the fence about Brady. Who cares? We'll move on. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's get to it, y'all. Here we go. This is the scene that ends it all off. And we get to Aiden. He returned back to Carrie's home. he left. Okay, so remember, so he came in, he broke the window with this boulder that he apparently threw, because a pebble can't do all of that unless the window is so fragile. But still, he threw a boulder, and he wanted to make up for it. He wanted to do his best, so he's shopping for antique windows, antique doors, all of the nine. And he left the following morning to go to Pennsylvania somewhere to get some doors for her. He left her a Post-it note, which is funny because y'all remember back in Sex and the City when Carrie got broken up with on a Post-it note. So he leaves a Post-it note, lets her know that he's on the run to grab some antique doors to make it right. He's trying to make it right. Why do all these things happen to me? He's trying to make it right. And he's contemplating. He's looking very pensive here. Carrie walks in. She's like, hey, happy to see her man. Because, again, it's been 2 months, according to the show. It's been 2 months since they've seen each other, since she's been in VA. And she's happy to just see him back from his trip. So Aiden tells her that I bought all these doors, but I don't think it can be fixed. It doesn't look like it could be fixed. He starts to blame himself some more. Carrie's standing there looking at him like, no, come here. Like, she's trying to reassure him, right? And then Aiden spills all the tea. He lays it all down and lets her know, I slept with Kathy. And the way that he talks is like a little boy. Like, I ate the cookie before I had dinner. I ate it. So he admits to sleeping with Kathy and says it was a mistake. It happened because he and Kathy were upset that Wyatt didn't want to go to the wilderness retreat. And Kathy was so overwhelmed that she felt like, dang, what did we do wrong as parents that our kid needs to go to the wilderness to get his act right? And in that moment, they had sex. Now, Carrie's response was surprising to me. It was surprising to me because her response was very understanding. She's like, I understand how that could happen. Aiden was struck. Aiden was like, wait, look at all. Wait, you're not gonna whip me? You're not gonna pinch my cheek? Aiden was super surprised. Carrie says, look, I understand how that could have happened. And I want to give her a shout out. And I know some of y'all gonna be like, pick me Central. Well, I'm tired of that phrase. Hopefully by the end of 2025, that phrase will no longer be a trendy thing to say. But I say I like Carrie's response because let's keep it a buck. There are things that take place sexually that you wouldn't plan for, but it happens because of the context. And what I mean by that is, let's circle back to this foreign nigga right here. Hold on. Let's circle back to this foreign nigga. Okay? Marion and LTW in that dark room. LTW talking about you read my mind and you just knew exactly what I wanted. You did such an amazing job. If Marion wanted to lick her lips, just lick it, not even kiss it. I just want to see what it tastes like. If he wanted to do that, he could have gotten it off, right? Now, does understanding mean you agree or you encourage or no, it doesn't mean any of that. It just means you understand how the context, right? You understand how emotions and hormones and the setting could allow you, yes, I'm saying could allow you to cheat. Cheating is understandable in some circumstances. It is. So if Lisa Todd Wexley wanted to get it off with this man just on principle of him being as fine as he is, I understand. I get it. So why can't we share that same understanding for this scene right here? When Carrie said to Aiden, I understand. I understand how your dick slipped and got right into your ex-wife. Y'all were grieving over the maybe poor parenting y'all may have did with Wyatt, and the overwhelming nature of that experience of him denying support and services from this wilderness company. I understand. Look at the view count. It went down. Y'all will be back. Y'all will be back. But the point is, I understand. These things happen. And it is what it is. And I don't think there's enough conversation centered on the understanding of cheating. Okay? You could understand. If you haven't been getting any consistent head from your significant other, and you've been kind of flirting and feeling a coworker who works a close proximity to you, and y'all are in a dark room, and he's ready to eat your box, your husband could understand. Or your wife could understand. She could understand if someone was willing to give you head and you're not much of a head giver. Now, people will say, well, regardless of understanding, I still wouldn't like for you to do that. I still would want you to have self-control. Sure. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the simple fact that Carrie was understanding. And to me, that showed growth. I literally was like clenching my pearls or cringing because I'm thinking, oh, here we go. We're going to have this explosive moment. I was ready for it. And for her to say, I understand, and just calmly articulate that, I was actually proud of Carrie. Pick me! Shut up. I was proud of her. I think she was actually fair in her response. And it surprised all of us, especially Aiden. Aiden thought the whole deal that they made of 5 years, Aiden thought Carrie would remain abstinent. And Carrie's like, I didn't agree to those terms. I didn't agree to those terms. And it's like, I did. I thought you did. First of all, y'all didn't really talk clearly on what the terms were. So Carrie suddenly having this backbone and saying, I didn't agree to those terms. You think it makes sense? Like, do you really think I will wait for you for 5 years and not have sex with other people? And the funny thing about this, it's as if Carrie was already having sex with other people, and then she was going to lay the bomb down and say, hey, by the way, I've slept with other people as well, or I've slept with this consistent guy I've been seeing off and on as well. Like, it was as if Carrie was like laying that up for us. But instead, Carrie says, no, I haven't slept with anyone. I don't want to sleep with other people. Which is like, really? What about Duncan? Duncan looks good, okay? Duncan looks good. And for Carrie to be used to these unconventional relationships, I think Duncan will be a best suitor for her since he's only here for 6 months. So Aiden is shocked. He said, yeah, I agree to those terms. And Carrie said, well, even you couldn't do it. You just slept with your fucking ex-wife. He's like, yeah, but I made a mistake, Carrie. So it shows to me how fragile a man could be if a woman were to behave like them, right? If a woman were to just, look, I gave him my pussy. I was feeling very vulnerable. Who knows? Carrie says she doesn't want to sleep with other people. And then we see in the next scene that they finally bone. Carrie with her damn bra on. Carrie, show us your titties. Sarah Jessica Parker, show us your titties. At least a little nip. At least a little nip. Maybe the creasing of the breast. But enough that we've seen Miranda's whole bod, puss and everything, puss boots. I love when women share their natural self. So shout out to the hairy vaginas out there. Shout out to them. To them. They're just the walking hairy pussies out here. Just shout out. Shout out to y'all. But And then we've seen Miranda's titty. We definitely see Samantha's. So, Carrie, enough. Show us a little nip. Let's see what else. Carrie, we see Aiden attends the funeral with Carrie, so he was alongside her. So that was a nice little optical moment. The last part was pretty interesting. So we get to the last scene. LTW's mother-in-law, who she already has a strange relationship with. She's always kind of making her feel like she's not good enough. All of that typical mother-in-law stuff that I would hear about. She says a good quote, and she says, basically, don't beat yourself up on the fact that you wasn't there when your father passed away. She says, quote, if you were not there when a loved one passes, it means their spirit doesn't want you there. They want you to remember them the way they were, not in their final hour. I thought that was very powerful. That was very powerful. And I believe in those kind of kooky things. Like sometimes things are like you weren't supposed to be there, right? So you weren't supposed to be there. And I think that was on purpose. Like this is probably something that you couldn't handle to see, or that you just couldn't come to terms with, and it would have maybe caused you more emotional turmoil had you been there. It will save you peace, especially seeing the fragile nature of your father at that time. It's hard seeing our parents grow, and because every year, right, we get older, we forget sometimes, not even sometimes, that they get older too. Age and birthdays, they don't revert. They don't reverse. You're going to get older, and so are the older people in your life as well. Everyone gets older. Everyone has a birthday. So I think it's for the best that LTW didn't see or witness her father take his last breath. Aiden returns to Virginia. As he's about to leave, he kisses Carrie and he's like, I'm about to head home. Carrie says, you are home. He's not. He's leaving. Oh, let's say this. You're my second home. I'm gonna go back to my real home. Let's say that. Like, what, Carrie? This whole that moment was so that was the cringe moment for me. You are home, but he's not. He's not. There are no tools in this house, right? There's no shed where he works his woodworking stuff. I know he sold that company, but still, he's not home, Carrie. Your home is not his. Then we get to the last scene because, again, Duncan and Carrie, they have built a rapport. Oh, I want to highlight. Okay, so when Aiden came in the first day of the weekend that he shared there, he noticed that Carrie wasn't wearing any shoes. And I think this is going to be like Easter eggs for us to catch and see how Aiden is noticing how Carrie is changing in the likes of or in favor of her neighbor. She's actually considering her neighbor, and Aiden is picking up on that. I feel like that's my prediction, or I feel like that's something that we're going to see that explained more out of Aiden feeling bothered by that. So, because Carrie explains to Aiden, oh, I had to take off my shoes, or I take off my heels so the sound doesn't affect my neighbor, Duncan, yada, yada, yada. So Aiden sees Duncan. Duncan arrives to Carrie's back door. And the comfortability here in this moment, I thought Aiden was going to act out like a nigga, right? And be like, nigga, who are you? How are you just coming up? I know you're Duncan, but how are you just coming up to her door as if you've been through this house before in our home, right? But no, Aiden, super calm and collected. Duncan, he gives Aiden the chapter that he wants Carrie to read over and provide some constructive feedback to. And Aiden said, yeah, I'll make sure that she receives it. And that was that. But I don't know, maybe I'm looking more into it and trying to add more sauce. But I thought when Carrie told Aiden that she got the Adderall for Wyatt, I thought that face that Aiden gave Carrie was because he wanted to like that he was somehow an addict. Like somehow he I guess that's on me. That's a silly theory I had, I guess. But anyway, so Aiden doesn't tell because he's drinking a coffee. Yes, he told Carrie, I don't want you to wake up. No, you don't have to wake up. I'm just going to head out. I just didn't think that he was going to head out without letting her know, hey, I'm heading out. I don't know. He just left. Okay, so he grabbed the chapter from Duncan and left it on the table, the infamous table that Carrie always wanted and finally got because Aiden purchased it and delivered it to her. He left the chapter centered on the table, obvious for Carrie to see. So again, maybe I'm looking into it too much, but I felt like that was a little passive aggressive. It felt like it was a little passive aggressive. So he leaves it there. He doesn't text her and say, hey, by the way, like, we get it. He left Carrie's bedroom. He told her you don't have to wake up. I'm just going to head out. I think at the very least, he could have texted her, hey, on my way out, or as I was getting coffee, Duncan came by and told me to give you the chapter. I left it on the table. So we don't see that. I don't think he would have done that. I don't think we'll see that next episode. But we don't see Aiden letting Carrie know that he got this chapter from Duncan, that Duncan delivered this chapter. Instead, he just leaves it on, and I thought he was gonna rip it up. I thought he was gonna pour coffee on it. I thought he was gonna just place it on a wet countertop in the kitchen. But no, he diligently, carefully placed it on the table, the dining room table. So I wonder if there was some passive aggression there. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Let me know your comments down. Let me know in the comments down below of your thoughts for this episode that should have been called Michael Kors or Death Awaits Us of this episode and this season of And Just Like That. And just like that, I'll end it here and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.